Hello and welcome to the Door to Door YouTube channel. Today I thought I'd talk about high lift. So if you want to get your garage door to go up towards the ceiling for like a car lift or extra storage or just a cleaner look, then you need something that we like to call high lift. So without any further ado, let's cue the music. Door to door, door to door, door to door. All right, so exactly what is high lift? So there's a couple different versions of high lift, but like I said, basically, if you want the door to come up before it goes back. So normally, a normal garage door, it's going to sit, straight up and down when it's closed, and then as it comes back, it's going to immediately start tapering back into the horizontal and go flat, above your car or in the garage, so you can open, so you can get in and out of the opening. And then when you're done, it closes down. But for high lift, what happens is instead of immediately starting to come back, the door actually is going to go straight up first before starting to come back wherever the ceiling is, or you can even do a full vertical lift if you have that much room where the door is going to come all the way up. But usually in residential, you're going to see some form of high lift because most people don't have ceilings that are 16, 17 feet tall in their garage for a full vertical lift. So you'll see typically you have your normal vertical piece. Then you'll have what we like to call an adder piece. So this would be that adder piece that kind of gets it to taper away even more. And then you'll have your standard horizontal piece still. So you just add this adder piece in the middle to get the extra height that you need for the high lift. And then another one they also do is follow the roof, where it's going to come up and then it's going to follow a roof pitch if you have a pitched roof in your garage, which is another way to get a really clean look. It'll come up to where the roof starts to pitch in and then bend to follow that roof pitch all the way up to full open for you. And then there's also a hybrid. If you have a little bit of lift and then it gets back, you can do a little bit of high lift with a follow the roof just to get a little bit of a cleaner look. So let's go through the different ones and exactly why you would do it or why you wouldn't want to do it. So the main reason of why would you put in a high lifted track? The main reason is usually we see it is because you want to put a car lift in. So if you want to get a car lift where you can stack one or two cars on top of each other, if you have a tall enough ceiling, usually the lift guys want to see you get the door above 10 feet. So you would need to have closer to like 11 or 12 feet in your garage if you did want to put a lift in there. So that's the number one reason we usually do these high lift conversions. But then there's all other kinds of reasons. Some people just want a cleaner look because when the door goes straight up rather than coming back, you gain a whole lot more ceiling room in the garage, as well as with the high lift opener, with the high lift garage door, we usually pair it with side mounted openers since those doors need to come up before coming back. So the standard trolley bars generally don't work. Your conventional openers don't work. So you need to pair it with a side mounted one. And then with that opener on the side, that cleans up the inside from having an opener as well. So that'd be another reason, just for an overall cleaner look in the garage, a little less messy and cluttered with those doors kind of staying close to the jambs and those side-mounted openers. And then with all that open, you could add extra storage. I've seen people, that have like the Jeep Wranglers, someplace they could, make a pulley system to store the tops up there, add some shelving up there. You open up all that space for other possibilities if you just need more storage. Another thing I've seen is golf simulator. People want to clean all that up so they can put a golf simulator in their garage if they have room. So that's just a ton of different reasons why you might want to high lift it. But like I said, primarily we usually see it because people want to put in the car lifts. But there's lots of reasons to do it. So the pros and cons of doing a high lifted garage. Pro, like I said, you gain that extra room. If you're planning on doing a car lift or anything like that in your garage, double the space in there, you pretty much have to do it. So that's mainly why you would do it. Cleaner look and to gain that extra space. Con of doing it, one, it's going to be a little bit pricier compared to just a standard garage door because we're on that other piece and then there's usually a few more pieces involved. So when high lifting, the pads where you would normally, the framing where you normally attach your tracks to, that is generally done for a standard lift door. So those all need to be extended to the ceilings because for this to work, everything needs to move up. Everything's going to go up right against the ceiling, your spring line, your spring bar, everything goes up there on the ceiling. So that's one of the cons. So all the framing needs to be extended up, some additional lumber and work there. And then it's generally a little bit more expensive because it's going to be more track, more time. It's a little bit more time consuming to do it. And also you need a side-mounted opener. So that's basically an opener that's going to go on the side up there on the spring bar. So normally you have your spring line across the top of the door. That gets moved all the way up towards the ceiling, and then the opener gets put on the end because a standard opener is going to pull back, but this door is going straight up. So if you just try to put a standard opener on there, it's going to fight going up and pulling back at the same time, and it's going to damage your top section over time eventually. So you don't want to damage your door, so you're going to get a side-mounted opener that turns the torsion spring tube and lifts the door that way. Biggest thing is if you have a newer opener, drawbar opener, and you're doing a high lift conversion of an existing door, if you didn't need a new opener, you do need the side-mounted opener for this to work. So that's one of the cons of that would be another con of doing this if you didn't need another opener. And plus, these side-mounted openers are a little bit more pricey than just the standard trolleys. So that's something to think about, that the opener is going to be about 20 to 30% more than if you're just going with one of the standard openers. So things to think about when you're doing this. So basically, how do we do it? How do we either convert your existing door, or if you're planning on changing the door, or if it's a new construction project, do a high lift? So basically, the first thing you need to figure out is how much room you have floor to ceiling. Like I said, generally, if you're putting in a car lift, they want to see the door clear 10 feet. That way you should be able to get a car on the lift, get it up, and then still get another car underneath it, so you can kind of turn one space into two. So first of all, is it even worth doing? Do you have enough ceiling clearance? A couple of people have always asked me, they only have like a couple inches above the door still. They're like, well, I want full height, I want full high lift. Well, you're going to get like an extra 6 inches. It's going to be a lot more money. It's probably not worth it. But if you have the ceiling clearance, generally if you see a 10, 12, 14-foot ceiling is pretty tall. You usually don't see much taller than that in residential. Then, it's a great option for you to clear all that up and use the most of your garage volume. So basically, how is it calculated? So standard high lift calculation is going to be your ceiling height minus your door height minus 12. And that would be the number you would give us, or if you were trying to order this from one of the manufacturers like Amar, Clopay, that's the number you would give them when ordering your high lifted door. So let's say we had a ceiling height of 120 inches, and we're dealing with a standard 7-foot tall door, which would be 7 times 12, 84 inches. You would take 120 minus 84 for the door height minus 12 inches, and then that remaining number, that 24 inches, would be the amount of high lift you would put in if you were ordering the door. So ceiling height of 120 minus door height of 84 minus 12 would equal 24. That would be how much high lift you would tell the manufacturer or whoever you're ordering the door from that you needed. And there's some options, there are other things you can do. So besides the standard high lift, they also have what's called follow the roof pitch. So basically the door is going to come up, and then your spring line is still going to stay low, but it's going to be for a pitched roof. So it's going to angle and taper back to the pitch of the roof and follow that roof all the way up. So rather than coming straight back, it's going to follow that roof up and give you your max height there. So if you don't have just a tall ceiling, you have kind of a pitched roof, you could still get the door up to the ceiling and make a lot of room in there for, like I said, whatever you're trying to get a little bit more room in there for. Now for follow the roof pitch, you're going to figure out that a little bit differently. So you're going to actually need to find the angle of the roof if you are planning on doing a follow the roof. So it's usually be represented as a number of 4/12. So what does that mean? So basically you're going to need to figure out for a 12-inch run, so for 12 inches, how much the roof kind of slopes down. So every 12 inches, how many inches does the roof kind of rise or rise? So basically you could hold a level horizontal with the roof and then measure out 12 inches, and that number from the roof down to that level at 12 inches will give you your rise. So most commonly what you see is 4/12 on most roof pitches. I think that's about 18 degrees, and then you can go all the way up to 12/12, which is a 45-degree pitch. But generally, most residences that I see, it's going to be a 4/12 pitch when I see a follow the roof pitch. But that's basically how you're going to figure out your rise, and that's the number you're going to give them when calculating your follow the roof. So you're going to come up with if you need any high lift before you start following the roof, or if the door is going to come up and start following the roof immediately, and then you'll give the manufacturer or us or whoever you're working with that pitch number. So figure out what, on a 12-inch run, what the rise is. And that would be, that number over 12 is your pitch amount. So that would be what you would give if you wanted to come up with a follow the roof pitch scenario. And they even do a hybrid of that. So say the door kind of comes up and then starts tapering back towards the fall of the roof. We can do high lift up to where the roof tapers back and starts to pitch, and then have it follow that pitch for an even cleaner look if you're trying to get the cleanest look you can out of your garage. So that's another cool thing that we do that requires a few more calculations. Most manufacturers are going to want a measurement from floor to ceiling at the front of the garage, and then 8 foot back, another floor to ceiling measurement. Or if there's any obstructions, figure out how far back that obstruction is and give them a floor to ceiling measurement from the floor to the obstruction. But assuming there's no obstruction, you're going to want floor to ceiling at the front of the garage, and then floor to ceiling 8 foot back. And that would be for your follow the roof. And then that front measurement too would also include with the door height, if you needed to add any additional high lift before, making your follow the roof pitch back. And then, like I said, there is vertical lift where the door just goes straight up. Don't see that too often in residential because most people don't have the ceiling height for that. But if I've done it a couple times in homes where the new construction, they, had a plan of putting that vertical lift in, so the door goes straight up. But like I said, on a standard 7 or 8 foot tall door, that means, they need another 7 or 8 feet above the door. So that means a very tall ceiling. So you don't see that too often. So like I said, that's the standard calculation. I try to do it a little bit differently to get full lift, because sometimes when you just go off that standard calculation, you might not get the full high lift depending how the manufacturer clears it out. So I generally do the ceiling height minus 12 inches for your spring line. You might be able to fit it in 8 if it's a little bit lower and you're going to be using standard drums. But with the bigger high lifted drums, I like to give myself at least 12 inches for that spring line. And then they're going to give you usually a 15-inch turn at the top. And then with a standard 7 foot tall, they'll give you a 63-inch vertical piece at the bottom. So basically you need to calculate your ceiling height, minus 12 for your spring line, minus 15 for your track radius, minus 63 inches for your vertical for a standard 7 foot tall door with breakaway. And then that middle piece, that middle measurement is going to be your adder piece. This is the adder piece that will go in between your vertical on the bottom, and then your horizontal, your curved radius piece will come back, and then your spring line will be right above here. So this is the piece that you're going to figure out more or less to fit in for your high lift. So you add this in the middle, and then you have, say, this much more. I think this one's 29 inches. You have 29 inches between where the vertical ends and where it starts tapering backwards. So calculate this, put it all together, wind up your springs, and you're good to go. You have a high lifted door. Pretty cool. But yes, that's basically it. So if you are trying to get your door up above to go up first so you can have a little bit more room or just a cleaner look, basically you want a high lifted door. Like I said, some pros and cons to doing that. Biggest con is a little bit more expensive. And then, if you have a newer opener, you're going to need to get a new side mounted opener. It's like I said, the trolley bars don't work. And then here, every now and then you see a few tricky ones where there's beams or obstacles in the way. Usually we can overcome that. We just have to kind of make note of where those beams and obstacles are. And that could affect the amount of high lift you can get out of the door. Usually you have to keep it, a little bit below the lowest obstruction. So, if there's like the roof kicks in funny or there's something hanging down, you just have to account for that and make sure you're going to clear all of those things, when you go to order your track for the door. So that's the biggest thing you want to look out for, just tricky obstacles, beams in the way, things like that would prevent you from doing a standard high lift or getting your full high lift. But other than that, check your ceiling height, see how much room you have, make sure it's all clear, make sure you have decent enough side room for a side mounted opener. Usually you need about 12 inches on either side of the door. You really just need that on one side so you can fit the opener, because the opener kind of hangs on the side there, and you're good to go. But yeah, that's kind of a quick overview on high lift, just to kind of get your brain thinking if it's something that might work for your garage. And if you're in the northern New Jersey area and want to have some questions or want us to come out and take a look at your garage and see if we can make a high lift setup work for you, we'd be happy to do it. Give us a call. But until then, here at Door to Door, we love your garage door, and we're going to see you in the next one. Okay, thanks. Bye.